GT, baby.
What's cracking, y'all? It's your boy Junior Mafia coming back to you with another video. So, I just finished watching Monday Night Raw. We gotta talk about that, more so the main event. Before I get into everything that happened, let me just apologize because I said I was supposed to do a recap of night 2 of SummerSlam, but when I got home, it was super late because ran into traffic, which was crazy. And on top of that, I lost my voice, as you can hear me right now. You know, I've been still trying to recover because I did a whole lot of screaming when I was at MetLife Stadium, because night 2 fucking delivered, man. It was that good. I will put up some of my clips of what I captured while I was there, more likely on TikTok or probably YouTube, depending on how things go, because you know I ain't trying to get any copyright strikes, you know what I'm saying? So we'll see how that whole thing goes down, but I definitely enjoyed the matches on there. I feel like the triple threat delivered with Naomi, Io, and Rhea. They definitely delivered. That TLC for the tag team championships was so sensational. Everybody did a magnificent job. You know, I think the low point for me was the steel cage, because it was kind of what we anticipated, that you know it was going to be some shenanigans going on, and with Solo and all that stuff. Jimmy Uso coming out there trying to defend Jacob, but you know Jacob ended up losing and all because of, you know, you had Talatunga, you know, pretty much helping out Solo, you know, slamming the cage into Jacob, and that's how Solo ended up winning. Well, he also ended up dominating after that. So, you know, there's that. And then of course, man, that main event was Chef Kiss. That's why I really lost my voice with Cody and Cena. You know, it was a whole lot of boos and all that stuff going on. Like, it was sensational, and I definitely enjoyed it for what it was. Clearly, you know, as you hear from my voice, that's how good it was. And yeah, man, that was fantastic. Very back and forth action. Like, you know, at first I'm like, okay, yeah, making this a street fight, but most of the action is really happening a little outside the ring, not really into the crowd and stuff like that. But as we got into the match, more so like the middle of it, that's when they started going like to the crowd area, started fighting and stuff. So I'm glad we had got some very good things from there. It was a good visual seeing John Cena, you know, holding Cody on his shoulders where he came up that elevator. You know, when Cody did his entrance, that's what Cena had Cody on his shoulder coming up. So I think that was a very good visual. And then him adding to adjusting him on the ramp, like, it was pretty good. And then of course you saw the ending and stuff and how everything turned out. And the most craziest shit ever, Brock Lesnar coming back, which nobody expected, because me personally, I really thought The Rock was going to make a return and we was going to get a double turn, you know, at the show. But they totally swerved us and said, you know what? Nah, yeah, thought The Rock was coming, and I think again, flipped everything around, and then boom, in comes Brock Lesnar, which I don't have no problem with that. There was a big pop in there too. You know, pretty sure y'all saw the clip, so you know there was that. Also, like, I want to say towards the end of it, I definitely enjoyed myself for what it was. I had an amazing time, very very good, and you know it got your boy on at the pre-show panel and all that too. I'm gonna put the picture up on a little video clip showing me that I was there. But you know, it was fantastic. I definitely enjoyed myself. I appreciate y'all, you know, for you know, showing me that support as always, man. You know, I always wanted to put that out there, son. So, you know, I want to thank y'all from the bottom of my heart. Very much appreciated. But with all that being said, it's time to get into what happened, you know, at Raw and everything that was going on. So, we had the show start, and Seth Rollins coming out there, of course, with Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed, who yet again has Roman's J's around his neck. And this was still fucking crazy because he's still doing that despite them taking the L against Jay and Roman at SummerSlam. So they get into the ring, and Paul Heyman, he talking his stuff and all that, and he he calls Bronson Reed having a Shula Fowler over his neck because he's gonna talk his shit about Roman, and I guess he wants to add insult and injury, and instead of saying the Ula Fowler, he has a Shula Fowler around his neck. So I thought that was hilarious and all, but after he's talking shit, Seth Rollins going, and he was talking about how he pretty much swerved everybody into thinking that he was going to be out for a long period of time, and how everybody took the bait, so to speak, and him being out for those 2 months and cashing in on CM Punk after the carnage he went through and with beating Gunther and becoming champion. Like, he said the only 2 people that knew about that was Becky Lynch and Paul Heyman and all that stuff. And I want y'all to understand, when Seth was talking the whole time, if you look at Braun Breaker, he has not made a reaction at all. He had a straight face. You see Bronson Reed, he kind of laughing and embracing everything that's happening now. But when you look at Braun, he just don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, that's the type of reaction that he's been given. And you had to really, acknowledge that, because it may play a focal point down the line. It may not happen soon, but you can see the seeds is planting low key. And, it's going to be that moment of time where it's like, yo, I was about to be that top dog, that top guy, everything and all that. And here comes Seth, and he faking his injury, going, wins the world title and all that stuff. And now I kind of got to play the back seat, so to speak. So, he's not feeling that whatsoever. So as that's happening and whatnot, and start talking about this is the past, the present, the future, this is the vision and all that. And now that I got this, I got the power, and it's like, can nobody stop me? Then comes LA Knight. LA Knight come out there, and he pretty much was saying it's pretty insane that you faked your injury and all that, and you was signing off almost 2 months until you did the nonsense you did at SummerSlam. Then he brings up that before that happens, never forget that I'm the one who pinned you, hit you with the BFT one time, and was asking for a world title opportunity, at a match tonight in Brooklyn. So as it's happening, you see Seth Rollins, he's trying to amp up, I want to see this match happen tonight and stuff. And, once he said no, he ended up walking off. You see Adam Pearce there. He's going to tell him, listen, I want to be able to explain this. And, the fact that you went and lied about your medical report and you being hurt and all that stuff. Not only not to me, not to the doctors and everything, assuming that you was hurt, literally, and then you turn around and do that stuff, we ain't making that happen. So he was saying that we're going to have a title match tonight with Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker banned from ringside and all that stuff. So that was going to be our main event match. So there was that. I will say, throughout the whole show, it was nothing that was really exciting me. I feel like it was just middle of the pack and whatnot. I think what did catch my attention was Sheamus taking on Rusev, and they were brawling and stuff. Very good match, and it ended up in a count out because of Rusev and Sheamus fighting each other, outside of the ring. And Sheamus doing the 10 bell, he's smacking his fist into somebody's chest multiple times. He was doing that. That's why the count out. But you see the the interaction between the two crazy. Like they just kept brawling with each other, and they had to have everybody break them up. Now, the duration of the show, every time they was backstage and somebody was there, you always see them on site just crashing out, like just brawling and everything. And it happened on, I think, 2 different occasions, so to speak. So I'd say that was very interesting and something I'm looking forward to. And I'm hoping and praying that we do get a matchup at Clash at Paris towards the end of this month. I really hope that we do get a match there because it's well deserved. And I feel like now with how everything is going, the stage is set for them to battle on the PLE. You know, I really hope that really happens, man, because that was pretty damn good. Then it was another segment where Becky Lynch coming out there and all that stuff, and she's pretty much talking about how you know, she's like still your women's Intercontinental champion, and after being Live Vicarious, she can't challenge for the title anymore. Blah 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 blah. And that's just happening. She's trying to see what's her next opponent going to be. In comes Nikki Bella, which I didn't really give a fuck about. I think it was just crazy for me. And what caught my surprise, Becky actually, she was cooking in that promo. You know, she was just pretty much calling out Nikki in regards to, you know, she can't beat her and all that. Didn't mention about, you know, because when Nikki brought up about, you know, how she lied just like her husband Seth Rollins is and all. And Becky had a counter for that, you know, telling her that, you know, you speaking about my husband and all that, but where's yours? Your boyfriend. He's saying that you can't see him. So I felt like that was a very good reference right there. And she pretty much went cooking her up. But Nikki was pretty much trying to get everything off her chest and was saying that she wants to challenge her for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. And when it looks like Becky about to say something, she ended up clocking Nikki and left out. So it looks like we're going to probably get a title match down the line. I will not be surprised if it happened at Clash of Paris, but whatever the case may be, like, just get it over with. You know, I just don't want to see Nikki Bella in no type of feud with a title on the line. Like, I'm dead done with that shit. But yeah, there's that. So, fast forward towards the main event. And, you know, yeah, LA Knight taking on Seth Rollins for the world title. And I kind of knew the match was going to be short because it was going to be some shenanigans, as I expected. But when it happens, like when it started running outside of the ring and LA Knight was down and it was Seth Rollins, he like, you know what? The way I got to put him away, I'm going to curse stop him, but I'm going to remove the mats. And all that. So he started tearing the mat off and all that stuff. And, you know, he's positioning LA Knight towards the concrete floor to curse stomp him. And when it looked like it was about to happen, no other than CM Punk comes through the crowd, jumps onto Seth Rollins, and now those two are brawling out, which I expected Punk to crash out after what happened on Saturday with, you know, Seth Rollins stealing his glory, his moment. You know, in 5 minutes, he took all that away from him. So you knew hands down that he was looking for his get back. And you'll just see CM Punk just throwing every object is in his direction straight at Seth. And he pretty much trying to pack him up. So it got to the point where CM Punk and Seth it got into the ring. And you see LA Knight, he kind of pissed off at CM Punk, like, yo, what are you doing? Like, you cost my match. But Punk ain't paying that shit no mind. He's going to follow Seth outside of the ring because, you know, he want his get back. So as that's happening, you knew for a fact Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker was going to, like, start showing up. So Braun Breaker, he started to, like, run it down that ramp and does the fucking crazy-ass spear on a CM Punk. And as it's happening, you know, LA Knight, he was looking at it to get at them because, you know, they got beef with each other. So as it's happening, you know, Braun Breaker starting to get that upper hand. And then you see Bronson Reed pretty much, you know, LA Knight as well. So, you know, they're taking him up out of there and shit like that. And then once it was done, they put their attention on a Punk and they started to pack this nigga up. And, you know, once they really got him off the board, they put their attention on LA Knight, packed LA Knight up, and once again, right when, yeah, and then they hit him with a curb stomp. Excuse me. So after that, they were standing tall and all that, and they get ready to leave out. Credit starts rolling. So all right, this is about to be over. And right when the credits was done, we hear Roman Reigns' music hit. And that was a shocker because after that, victory they had, I assumed that Roman was going to be back on his yacht. He was not going to be seen for quite some time, maybe leading up to Survivor Series. But this man says, you know what? I'm going to show up to work again. Man came there and started putting the beats onto Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. And once he had that clear view to Seth Rollins, he gets up there and he about to attack him, Seth calling him out. So Roman gets into the ring, Seth's going to take off as usual. That was bound to happen. So as I was done, you see Braun Breaker trying to go and attack Roman. Roman was able to counter that and was putting the beats on him. Then you see Bronson Reed trying to, get at Roman too. But Roman, they're going on full attack mode. And right when he thinking like, Roman's in the groove of things, you see Seth Rollins take advantage of that and curb stomps Roman Reigns. And once that was done, that's when things started going downhill. And this man went through a whole destruction phase. So I'm talking about when they lifting him up, you had Braun Breaker running at full speed, spearing the shit out of him. Then, to make matters worse, Bronson Reed goes on top of the rope, and they rolling Roman's body over there. And this man proceeds to hit not one, not two, but 3 fucking tsunamis. And at this point right now, there's still the X up for Roman. He literally went there trying to get some offense generated and stand his ground, but only to get destroyed. Fuck that. Packed up. And to make matters worse, you see Bronson Reed yet again untying his shoes and takes them and wears him around his neck again. Now you having my boy Roman coming back and pretty much walking out of the arena with no fucking shoes yet again. Like it's got to the point where now Roman gotta stop this. He has to fucking stop this now, cause it's really getting out of hand to where you have Bronson Reed channeling his inner Ezel from Friday, stealing this nigga's shoes. Like it's really got out of hand at that point. So something has to give, and I feel like this is all leading up to it being War Games, a War Games match. This is what it's setting up to be like. So we'll see how things turns out right there. But all in all, this was a very decent episode. I feel like the main event kind of brought things up, a little bit more, and especially after everything that went down, it brought the show up, a couple of notches, So if I had to give it a rating, I'd probably give it like a 6.5. Main cause like a 7 out of 10 in my opinion. Very decent at all. Nothing too crazy to go back and watch, with the exception of the main event. And the things that happen afterwards. That's pretty much it. But comment down below. Let me know what you think about Monday Night Raw. What's your thoughts about it? Would you give it a rating and all that too? And yeah, as always, make sure y'all hit that like button, y'all hit that subscribe button, click the notification bell so I get notified every time I drop content right here on this channel. I appreciate your love and support. Roll to 200 subscribers. Continue to keep God first. Trust the process of anything that you do in life. Your time will come. And I'm going to catch you on the next video. Peace. It's time for me to get some tea so I can go rest up. Take care, y'all.